Okay, so this is the lesson that we're going to be doing today in InDesign. It's pretty simple. You're going to make a background image. So whether it was for a poster or a card, whatever you'd create, this would be something that would be going in the background using a gradient. So I want you to open up a new document. You can do the web preset this time. Still flip to inches just because everyone's more familiar with that. We're going to do portrait mode and keep all other defaults. Now remember, these pink lines that you see on your screen are your page margins, but they are non-printing. To see what will print versus what will not print, you can go to preview mode down here. This shows you how it would print. And this is normal mode. This is showing you how you're editing. So the first thing I want you to do is to draw an ellipse. Doesn't really matter the size, but I want you to give it no fill and a stroke. So you can select whatever color fill that you want, but make sure that it has no stroke. Now remember, your fill can be edited either by clicking over here in the tool panel, or it can be edited up here in the properties panel. So either way that you choose to edit it, I want you to change the color. So it should have no stroke and a fill. Make sure your object is selected before you do it so you don't have that same trouble that I just had. So we give it a color. Now we're going to go to your gradient tool and we're going to just draw a line from left to right. Now you see when I just did that, I had my stroke selected last, so the gradient added to my stroke instead of my fill. So make sure you select your fill first, then go to your gradient tool, and we're going to draw a line, like I said, from left to right. Now wherever you draw your line, you can draw it outside of the margins, but then the midpoint of the gradient is what you actually see. So if you want the gradient to go from one color to the other, you want to draw the line inside of your shape, whatever shape you choose. Now, we had it blue, but it changed to this black and white color because the default color for the gradient is from white to black. We can change this though, so double click on the gradient tool by opening the gradient panel. You'll see on the far left is your white point and on the far right is your black point. In order to change that, we're going to go up to this color panel, used to be called the swatches panel, and you'll see this is where we can see other colors. I'm going to change it to CMYK, and here I have that blue that I was most recently working with. So in order to add this to your gradient panel, you're going to select the color and just kind of drag it onto the gradient. So you need to make sure that you have your selection tool selected first. Then grab the fill color and you're going to drag it onto the gradient. You'll notice that it's working because there's a line here instead of what was previously here, which was that canceled out sign. So you're going to drag it wherever you want that gradient to appear. I will put it on the white side of the line. So you'll see now I go from this blue to black. But I could change that range by pulling these color stops from one side to the other. Another thing you can do is, now that I have the blue already in here, I'm going to go back to the color panel. I'm going to maybe pick a different, more purpley color. You can also drag that onto one side of the panel. So you can change it either way that you want to and come up with the color that you like. Another way of doing that is to click the color stop and then just select over here the color that you want. So whatever side that you want to be changed, you can click around for that side. Now in other programs you can double click these color stops to change the color. That is not the case in InDesign. It works a little bit differently. But once you come up with a shape that you like, you can just click that, hold Alt, and drag it over here for now. So we don't need that right now. Now I want you to select your ellipse again for a second time. This time we're going to use this other gradient, the gradient feather tool, and that's the primary tool we'll need for this assignment. When you click the gradient feather tool, I want you to see, draw another line. It blends half of the shape into the background, so whatever the background color is. My background color happens to be white, so it's dragging my shape into that white color. Now the cool thing about this, you'll see this other one that I did, you can manipulate that shape. So by moving this circle, let's see, we're going to try to rotate it. We're going to move it down. Then I'm going to expand it off the page. And you'll see I just kind of gave a gradient color to that background. Now you see the blue line right now, but if I look at my preview mode, this is how it would print. It would be a very subtle transition down here. So another thing that we can do with this selected, I want you to use your scissors tool. Go to your scissors tool and we're going to cut the shape from point to point. So one point to the other point. Now we've created an entirely new shape. So if I click it, I can move it away. So this gives an even harsher line to your gradient shape. You can move that wherever you want. So if you can come up with another way, you can also incorporate the other circle that we made over here to come up with your background. You can duplicate these in multiple ways. You don't have to use the scissors and cut them. You could keep it as that original shape and maybe just duplicate it. So if you wanted one at the top and then another one at the bottom, whatever you want to create, but I want you to create some kind of background using what I just taught you and then submit it for this week's lesson. And that's it.